Heather McDonald has got the juiciest scoop. When you're on the road, when you're on the go, Juicy Scoop is the show to know. She talks Hollywood tales, her real life Mr. Segment serial data and serial sister. You'll be addicted and addicted fast to the #1 tabloid real life podcast. Listen in, listen up. Whoop whoop. Heather McDonald, Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. Well, we have a lot to get into. Let's start with some follow-up commentary that came from the Netflix doc, Amy Bradley is Missing. To remind you guys, this is a 3-part documentary on Netflix. Many of you have watched it, and it's about a girl that went missing in 1998 from her balcony. That was the last that she was seen at 5:30 in the morning by her dad. And they believe, the family who participated in this documentary, that she was either lured off the boat secretly or drugged and taken somehow on a suitcase, and then has been trafficked for the last 20 years in the islands around Barbados. I had said my theory is that no, that's not the case. And since then, there's been some other reports. So the brother named Brad Bradley, yes, that's his name, who was with her that night. He, I mentioned, did some X posts about that she was seen talking to 2 black women that were wearing what appeared to be Sea Org uniforms from Scientology. And he wondered if maybe she was taken by Scientologists. That could have been a whole nother theory, that she didn't jump, she didn't accidentally fall over, and she wasn't taken into a life of being trafficked. He has now come forward and said he got in touch with Scientologists, former Scientologists, who said, no, they don't believe that would have happened. It's very unlikely. Also, I heard from people who said, fortunately or unfortunately, there aren't a lot of black women involved in Scientology. So already that was like a red flag that most likely wasn't the case. I said that's not everything I know about Scientology and the Sea Org. They're not looking to kidnap a girl to have her clean the toilets on the Sea Org boat. No, they want you to recruit other people eventually. And so he said, you're probably right. That's probably not what happened. Another big response that I didn't refer to in the last episode was that if there's getting pings or whatnot from Barbados to this website on special holidays in which the parents are, it's their birthday, it's Christmas. They said someone in Barbados, their IP address kept going to the website, where is Amy Bradley? And lingering on it for approximately 38 minutes every time. It must be her. Yet the parents still have yet to go visit Barbados and maybe look for her, maybe ask around, maybe possibly even move there. A lot of people said if my daughter was supposedly seen over the years by these eyewitnesses, I would take all the money I have and spend my retirement there, walking the beaches, just looking for her. Why didn't they? I don't know. The other idea is, but Heather, she looks just like this sex worker who had sexy photos on a website, an adult website in that area to get a date. Nobody tried to set up a date with her. Also not featured in the documentary, since I've heard, there were several other photos of this woman that didn't look as much like Amy. Also, she was trafficked in 1998. These photos appeared in the mid 2004-ish. And the photos are a girl that looks like she's straight out of 1984. Hair is long, makeup. And again, I don't think the nose looks like her nose. So no, I don't think it's her. I think that the people that are participating in this, there's always been sightings of missing people that then unfortunately turn up past. Also, family, I know you're hurting, but if you really believe she's out there, I guess she doesn't have a Netflix subscription. I guess there's no billboards about her. She's already been on numerous shows, TV shows, looking for her. She was on the cover of People magazine like 15 years ago, a huge magazine back then. It was on Unsolved Mysteries, and now she's on a Netflix doc. And you still think she's too afraid to get on the phone when this other woman said she saw her in the bathroom while she sat in a stall and listened to a conversation with her supposed captors. No, I don't. This is why. It doesn't make logical sense. Also, on a ship in 1998, every person was accounted for when they came off or when they went on. So how did Yellow, the musician, get her off the boat? He shoved her barefooted body when they went to go maybe try to get weed or something, when she snuck past her sleeping parents and slammed one of those cabin doors. They didn't wake up. And then she found Yellow. And then somehow he's like, finally, I got you. You're going to make me so much money in between my shifts of being gone for a week, performing on this ship. I'm going to make sure that you're being trafficked. We all decided on the boat you were the hottest one that we could make money off of. Her Birkenstocks, which are not exactly hooker shoes, were left by the side on the balcony, which when people jump, they leave their shoes. And yeah, maybe I'm being harsh. We all watch the documentary. We all have an opinion that we can share. And this is mine. These are all the reasons why I think, unfortunately, she will never be found. And if she really is walking around and she has yet to call her parents or her family, at this point, you got to be like, either you're not a good daughter then. Like, my God, look what we've been going through. No, this is a documentary. The point is to get us to talk, to question, to wonder. They leave things out. Also, where was her card? Where was her key card? Did she take it with her? If she didn't take any shoe wear with her to go meet Yellow or whoever to get weed, which is what people think, and then he decided to kill her or take her, then where's her key card? What did he shove her in a violin case? And then all of a sudden he's like, hey, come on out. Now you're going to be a hooker. That's just why I just don't believe it. I think it's a well done documentary. I love that it got people talking. But no, I have friends calling me being like, Heather, no, she met with Yellow to get drugs. She wanted weed and then she's too ashamed. I still don't believe it. Again, this is not the prototype of someone to be kidnapped or trafficked when you're a 23-year-old adult college graduate woman wearing Birkenstocks at the disco with short hair, and your parents and your brother are all sharing the room with you. So I don't think the parents had anything to do with it. I just think they like to keep the conversation going. They don't want to resolve that she did this on her own or ended her life, or yes, I do also think the possibility is that she got sick and was throwing up and fell, or stood on the table to maybe take a photo. Where is the camera? They never told us where her camera was that she was taking all these photos for. And so those are the questions that make me think, no, she accidentally fell or she purposely fell. And no, not everybody body is washed up on shore. They said in the article I read, only about like 17% are. So, and you also can get sadly sucked under the boat. It's a huge boat. There's propellers, there's things like that. So I don't think she was a great swimmer who made it to the shore and then got sucked into a life of drugs and unfortunately being trafficked. I do believe people are trafficked all the time. I just don't think that it happened to her and that she is a prototype of it. And for all those reasons. Also, when we do finally hear from a girl that's been kidnapped, that is in fact alive and didn't have the opportunity to call her family or friends, it's because she was captured very young and literally was like living in a basement or had her captor's child or something. And that is why she has not come forward. It's not living on islands. So no, I think, and I also think the blonde Karen woman in the bathroom maybe saw something similar and then has exaggerated it and was pretty excited to be on this documentary. And lastly, I don't think anyone would go on the documentary that had anything to do with it. Not the insensitive, kind of creepy cruise director guy, not the guy next door. If you escaped being convicted of killing this woman 25 years ago, you think you're going to get the call from Netflix and be like, yeah, sure, come over, interview me once more. Let me tell you how I wasn't part of it. No, you'd be like, no comment, leave me alone. I don't want anything to do with it. So again, if you haven't watched it, I think you should watch it because it is a lot to discuss and I'd love to hear more from you. This was really funny. So in looking at all this stuff on TikTok, I found this guy, Michael Hull, and he's a really funny gay guy. And he goes, I want to know what happened to Josh on my cruise ship. And he does this video and he said, my friends and I, we got on this cruise ship. It was a Royal Caribbean cruise ship. And this was just a couple years ago. And we met this guy, Josh. Josh had a backwards baseball cap on. He was fun. He was like 35. He was the life of the party. He got the karaoke started. He would be like, where are you guys meeting tomorrow? And get everyone going every night. And towards the end of the trip, with only 2 days left of the trip, his group, this guy and his 5 gay friends, and they're having a blast. And these other different people they met on the cruise were like, let's all meet at this bar. And they tell Josh, let's all meet at this bar, 7:00, 2 nights before the trip is done. And let's start our partying there together. And that night, Josh wasn't there. And for the next 48 hours before they, left the ship, they never saw Josh again. They're like, where is Josh? What happened to Josh? And so I thought it was funny. I don't think he was seriously concerned about Josh, but it is kind of weird. And in reading the comments, people said sometimes those passengers that are such a good time actually work for the ship to get people partying, to get people going, to enhance your memories of like, we met people, introduce people, be the life of the party. And once they really invited him to like hang out and make a plan, he had to bail, and never be seen again. I just thought that was really interesting and clever. And I want to know if you've worked on a ship, do they have like plans to kind of get the party going and get people talking and meeting each other so that when they leave, they even have a better memory of the experience of being social on these boats? I know you're probably like me. And whenever I have some spare time or I feel a little bit bored, I'm just compelled to always pick up my phone. I start to scroll Instagram, TikTok, whatever. But there's times where I'm like, oh my God, I've got to stop. My brain, I don't want to watch this stuff anymore. However, I'm still a little bored and I want something fun. And that's when I discovered Cookie Jam. It is so much fun. Cookie Jam is a free match 3 game. You play on your phone or tablet and you just match 3 cookies or candy to clear the board and solve puzzles. So it's really fun and it's very satisfying, which is what I love. And there are over 11,000 events with new ones added every week. So you're never going to get bored and you're never going to be out of challenges. You could explore the world of Cookie Jam with Chef Panda, which is like such a cute little panda. So whether you're multitasking during a TV binge or avoiding awkward text convos or just want an escape, but you still want to use your brain and have some fun and get that fun satisfaction winning at something that's cute and adorable, you deserve a treat. Join over 100 million Match 3 players and download Cookie Jam today. Life is already complicated, and when it comes to health goals, it's especially hard when it takes a back seat because of insurance complexity. I know I've been there. I'm sure you have too. And it's just easy to feel stuck, to procrastinate, to not bother to get what you know your body needs. Now I want to share how Rose Insurance Checker is built to unstick that moment, free, simple, and built to help people move forward. Rose Insurance Checker lets you know if you're covered for GLP-1s for free. If you want to see if you're covered, just submit your insurance card and Ro will take care of the rest. No paperwork, no hassle, no waiting on hold. Rose Free Insurance Checker will send you a comprehensive report of your coverage detail so you can make a decision that's right for your goals. In fact, nearly half of all Ro members have insurance coverage. When you become a Ro member, you'll have support throughout the process. You'll have access to your provider on demand for any questions. Go to ro.co/juicyscoop for your free insurance check. That's ro.co/juicyscoop to see if your insurance covers GLP-1s for free. Go to ro.co/safety for black box warning and full safety information about GLP-1s medication. Sometimes I have such a hard time falling asleep and my mind's racing. I'm not comfortable. I was hot. It wasn't feeling right. I'm thinking about too much. Well, it's really improved because I've got Boll & Branch signature sheets. And the minute I crawl in, it's like my whole body just relaxes. Boll & Branch's signature sheets are made free from toxins with the finest 100% organic cotton. They are buttery soft right when you get them. But what's amazing is they get softer with every wash. They actually get better the longer you have them and enjoy them. They come with a 30-night worry-free guarantee and are ethically crafted by expert artisans that earn fair wages. What I also love is I got their waffle blanket. First of all, it looks great. It works perfectly. And again, it's just the right amount of comfort and warmth and covering that I need without feeling too hot or it being too heavy. It works perfectly with the sheets. So definitely get that. I absolutely love it. Get the best savings of the season during Boll & Branch's annual summer event. Get 20% off plus free shipping on your first set of sheets at bollandbranch.com/juicyscoop. That's BOLLAND branch.com/juicyscoop to save 20% and unlock free shipping. Limited time only. Exclusions apply. Okay, let's talk The Valley. Last night was the season finale of season 2 of The Valley, and it was pretty juicy. We go into the next couple episodes will be the reunion. We reported that Jax has stated he'll be stepping away from season 3 of The Valley. Many people wonder if it was his choice or not. I spoke to Janet at an event last week at the Las Culturistas show, which will be airing on August 3rd. This is Matt Rogers and Bowen Yang have a very funny podcast. Matt's been on Juicy Scoop. You know Bowen Yang from that podcast as well as many Wicked and from SNL. They are two really funny friends together that have done a successful podcast, and they do this funny kind of fake award show. So I went to the taping of that. There was lots of Bravo stars, and I think it'll be a great show, and it's August 3rd. Saw Andy there, told him he needs to do more comedy on his network because it was good. Anyway, when I was there, I saw Janet, who is always very friendly to me, and I like her a lot. I know she's pissed off the fans with her and her cute husband, Jason, questioning Danny's behavior once he's had a few drinks. However, I said, I'm kind of shocked by the Jax thing. Do you really think like he really isn't going to come back? And she said, I think you'll understand more when you watch the reunion. So saw a preview of the reunion, which is going around, and he is just pretty awful. He is awful. I've said he's awful, but I was like, I think they are done kind of rewarding really awful people. I don't know if he'll ever come back. I think there would have to be a massive change in his life. And it maybe, like I said, if he has a relationship with somebody that somehow can tame him and make him likable. But right now, no. And Brittany really finally has the blinders off. And it was pretty great seeing it last night because they have this final conversation at Yamashiro to have this like dinner, this party. And he comes, he says he's sober. We do see him order a vodka soda at the end of the night, but he is coming with guns on for Danny because Danny and his beautiful wife, Nia, and their 4 kids, Danny got shit all season because he gets a little drunk sometimes. And he was, every time the camera was around, Jax was like, Danny's been thrown out of my bar. He's been thrown out of my bar for being too drunk. And Nia's had to pick him up and I'm going to go. And he just starts going after him. And Danny's like, what is the deal? Like, why? And Danny's drinking water. Yeah, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you drink? I mean, I know I would. If I was on a reality show and for the last 5 events that we're filming, people were coming at me saying I'm a sexual predator when I drink and I have a drinking problem and my wife probably should look into rehabs for me. Yeah, you better believe I would just be having water. Okay, you'd be an idiot not to. And so he's like, where is this coming from, Jax? And he's like, oh, you think you're so perfect with your Miss Universe wife or Miss America wife or whatever Nia is. She's lovely. And they're like, what are you talking? We don't pretend to be perfect. Like we live in a tiny apartment. We're trying to buy a house in Santa Clarita. Like she went to see a plastic surgery for a body mommy makeover. Like I don't think they're trying to act like they're perfect in the least. But anyway, Jack is just going off and not fun, crazy Jack. Like I stole sunglasses at the Hawaiian store of yesteryear or some of his great mixed up sayings that he can't get straight. Really kind of mean and out of nowhere. And so then Danny in his confessional is like, really? You're going after me? Why don't you bring up the fact that you sleep with your employees? You sleep with people that work at your bar. How's that working out for you? So it's getting ugly and messy. Then he goes and has Brittany come sit down. And finally, Brittany like I said, has the blinders off. And he's talking to her and he's arguing with her. And she's like, well, let's move forward with this divorce and get the paperwork. And he's like, I'm going to wait till the last final day to do that. And she's like, well, why would you do that? And he's like, I just would. I mean, you're putting it on TV, just like Jesse did, who's also divorcing the other girl, Michelle, who's kind of saved herself later in the season. But I don't know how great they are today because it's all shot like a year ago. Because Kristen's not even pregnant and now she has a baby. So this is going on. And Brittany is like, I'm done with him. I don't even see the man I was in love with. I see a greasy face. He is gross. I see greasy face. I see giant pores. I see a vein popping out of his forehead. So no, I think he's disgusting and he's not the man that I was in love with for 10 years. And yeah, I think she did have blinders on. I think she thought she could save him. I think she thought he was gorgeous and he still is good looking. But of course, she's seeing all the ugliness of him coming out of his pores, literally, as he tries to fuck with her and tries to gaslight her and act like he wants to be this great dad to Cruz, but then say he's going to just hold up the divorce just to fuck with her. Like, it is so really good seeing all of that. And Zach, who is like Brittany's best friend from her hometown, he's 37. I thought he was younger than that. He is a very dramatic gay that really kind of makes the show. And it's a lot. He gets very upset. I'm like, what is he getting? It was a little confusing why he's getting so upset. But look, he wants to keep a spot on the show and we're all entertained. It is heavy subjects. It wasn't fun. A lot of these shows, as I'm going to get into, are not what they were of yesteryear, but they are interesting and they are relatable because these are millennials that are, you know, either getting divorced or falling in love and little kids are involved and it's sad and it's hard, but it's also very interesting. And so when we see in the preview of the reunion is Brittany still is going off on Jax and she's like, yes, I dated someone briefly that knew our friend group because I was a shell of myself and I had no sparkle left. And Jax goes, oh, sparkle. And she's like, that's exactly it. Like, why are you criticizing a word I'm using? Like, she's like, you were awful. You body shamed me. You brought up that I had stretch marks after giving birth to your child, which for people that haven't had kids or don't know, some women get stretch marks. Some women don't. Your body fucking stretches a lot. You go from having a flat stomach to having a 9-pound baby in there. So some people need a mommy makeover. Some people have stretch marks that never go away. Some people bounce right back and look amazing. It's everybody's body is different. But you know what, Jax? You didn't give birth. Shut the fuck up. So anyway, she said that he called. So you got to watch it. We'll all watch next week. But I do predict there's going to be some cast changes, not just with Jax. I think there's going to be some of the older Vanderpump people I think they're going to bring into the fold, like Tom Schwartz, Lala Sheena. That's just my prediction. And you know, maybe even bring in somebody else, maybe scooch some people out. I don't know, but it's definitely a talked about show on Bravo. And a lot of these shows, I think, are like losing the buzz a little bit. So that was good. So, let's see. Also, since we're talking about Bravo, remember you guys, during this, they had ads to buy tickets to BravoCon. And that is November 14th and 15th and 16th. Well, what's happening November 14th? I know you already bought your tickets to my show, which is at the MGM Grand in Vegas. This will be a live Juicy Scoop. I am taking notes and saving stuff just for that show. Juicy stuff that's happened. Some juicy stuff that happened at the Bravo taping of the show I just talked about, the Las Culturistas, and funny stories and things. And we're going to do very different things on that show. Brandy and Julie are coming amongst other special guests. And that is Friday, November 14th. And the tickets are selling very well. There still are some left. Get that as well as your other tickets for the weekend and start making your plans. Okay. Also, this was brought to my attention by a content creator named Chrissy Balls. And I was like, I have to see if it's true. And Joe Giudice of Real Housewives of New Jersey, as we know, he never got his green card, even though he came over here at 1. And then when he went to prison, he was deported after that. And he lives in the Bahamas and the girls visit him. And, that's nice. He's a very dedicated father. We will all agree to that. However, he is now doing something that if you'd like to be a part of, you can. He says, hey, I have a once in a lifetime chance in which you can come to the Bahamas and I will be your personal tour guide. And this is where the hotel is. And he just points to this hotel across the water. This is the little boat I'll take you on and show you around. I'm going to show you the best spots. And it only costs $15. You're like, how does that? No, you can buy a raffle ticket essentially for $15. And I'm sure all the accounting will be up, on the up and up. He's only allowing 3,000 people to buy the $15 ticket. And then of those 3,000, one very lucky winner will get to go on the trip and he will be your tour guide. So if this all works out, he makes $45,000 and one lucky person gets to do it. I'm not saying this isn't going to happen. I can't wait to see the TikTok from the person who won and gets to go. However, it reminds me of when Scott Disick, who's truly fallen off the face of the earth, where's he? And even many of the Kardashians would do those things where they put all the luxury boxes behind them and say, follow all these brands and you could win a luxury shopping trip. Again, have you ever met anyone that has ever won the shopping trip? And if you have, I would like to invite you to come on Juicy Scoop and tell me about how you followed all these brands, how you got the call, and then how you went on the luxury shopping trip with you by yourself or with someone else. I want to know. So I'm just saying, very interesting things going on, and good luck. And I hope you have a great time with Joe Giudice. Okay. Also, on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, we know that they are filming right now. I think it's scheduled to come out not until 2026 in the first quarter. Rachel Zoe has joined the cast of Rachel Zoe, skinny fashionista in the long dresses and the original Bravo show and all of that. And we know that she's getting divorced. She has 2 sons with her husband that she's been with since college. Now, when we watched her on her show on Bravo, the Rachel Zoe Project, a lot of people thought he was much like a Chris Chrisley, that he didn't seem like your typical straight dad. Anyway, word gets out they're getting divorced. And people were like, well, what's the next thing that's going to come out, right? That he has a boyfriend. No. The stories that I have heard is that he was unfaithful to her. This is all alleged, with women. And allegedly, since she's filming the show right now, it comes out. And she is filing for divorce right now while she's filming the show. Now, I think that's kind of great. That's saving the juice for the show, because they filed that the articles I remember is that they were getting divorced quite a few months ago. Now people wait to file or whatever, but conveniently, this is going to add to some drama, and hopefully she will share what she feels comfortable sharing, because there's nothing that a Bravo fan, especially female, enjoys more than seeing someone's marriage fall apart while they watch the show with their pet. So we will see that on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Real Housewives of OC has a couple episodes in, and just to tell you the interesting parts, because people are like, Heather, I don't watch these shows, but I do like your recaps. Thank you. I think I bring out the stuff that's juicy and interesting. I'm not going to go by scene or whatever, but this is what's interesting. There's a girl named Katie who it's her second year. And I know personally that I've met her personally. She came to my show in Irvine. She was very pleasant and nice. She has never written me or given me scoop or said nasty stuff about other cast members. But I don't leak breaking news on Instagram posts like a lot of what they call Bravo bloggers do. That's not what I do. I'm like, hey, want to come on the show? Let's have you on. If Bravo says that you can't go on right now, that's fine. If you want to come on and do hot topics or talk about your life before Housewives, let's do it. If not, I don't care. It doesn't break or break my life or my show. I'll still watch your show, and good luck to you in your life. Okay. So anyway, I found it from other people. She was reaching out to everybody that I know has been like, oh, I'm friends with Katie. Oh, Katie wrote me. So she was reaching out to people, and she wanted to connect and have friends and get her information and all this. So it all comes out on the show, and Emily and Gina and Tamara are all pissed at her for talking to these bloggers. However, aren't Emily and Tamara essentially bloggers? They both have podcasts where they talk about housewife stuff. And so aren't they kind of bloggers too? I don't know. However, it got all messy and they're all attacking her and whatever. Then Gretchen Rossi, who has not been on for 12 years, shows up and she is ready to confront everything that's gone down with Tamara in the last 12 years, where they both accuse each other of being obsessed with each other and talking shit about each other and whatever. And so we see that scene, which is pretty juicy. And, Tamara's trying to say, like, you got involved with my daughter. And she's like, no, I didn't. Your daughter wrote a post. And I just commented, like, sorry, you're going through this. I agree. And kids are off limits and da-da-da-da. And this whole kids are off limits is important, because then we go to Emily, who is the attorney that is not practicing law ever. Her husband, I don't know if he practices law. His tiny parents live across the street who are quite wealthy, and there's been stories that they help supplement their income. A lot of people's parents do. Who cares? She's on the show. She's been on the show for quite a few years, Emily, and she's 3 kids, a girl and twin boys who are 10. She says, I had to hire an attorney, Katie, to go up against my nanny that I no longer have, because the nanny talked to you, Katie, and then somehow your daughter or whatever went on a podcast and said that my little boys said, why is Heather Dubrow so mean to my mommy, Emily? Because of that, I've had to hire an attorney, and my children have suffered, and you should not ever get children involved. We don't involve kids, Katie. And, she's crying, and I don't know what the latest is going on, but it's her, I don't know. It's like the tear ducts or whatever. Emily is beautiful. Who cares? Okay, so get on with it, Heather. Oh, and Tamara has new teeth, and they're quite jarring, but good for her. They're white and bright, bigger than mine, so good for her. Anyway, so what I want to say to that is a lot of criticism happened is that Emily is sharing that one of her 10-year-old twins, boys, has an eating disorder. That's what she's talking about. We see this scene where clearly it was set up, where she made plans with production to come. Right when the boys come home from school, I'm going to offer them a snack, and one of them, won't want to eat, and then we'll be able to talk about his eating disorder. Clearly, that's what happened. So the 2 boys sit down, and I think both of them refuse the snack. I don't remember, but one just is like, no, I'm not into having a turkey slice, Mom. Okay. So they go, she goes, why don't you go upstairs and play so I can talk about you on camera to your dad? So they go up there, and now listen, I'm not doubting that this is a stressful situation for a mom. Okay. I'm 100% think it is. But a lot of people are thinking 10 years old is a little vulnerable of an age to be sharing their medical issues on a reality show. They can't give consent, just like someone who's, you can't give consent when you're under 18. I don't care what, asking your kid, whatever, they really can't. So it's fine if you see your kid playing with Legos and then they run upstairs. But if you're really like discussing something that could, now everybody at the school knows. Now we know if this kid has a play date, that mom is going to be like, so do we feed him? Do we not feed him? It's a lot. So do you think this is going to help him get over it? I don't know. But you put it out there. And so I thought, well, let her put it out there. Maybe this is going to help other people talk about it. Maybe more kids have this. She says it might be because he's on the spectrum. So he went to the same, I don't know if you want the same therapist as Tamara, who also said that she's on the spectrum, whatever. They're checking it out. They're seeing what's up. And I saw her do an interview, and she said, Well, Luke is just a very complicated child. He's my most complicated child. It's very complicated. I don't know what the label is, but you'll find out more if you keep watching the show. She said something to that effect. So I'm like, yeah, this is a storyline. That's okay. It's your life. You are doing your job. You're supposed to share every aspect of your life. I'm not really criticizing her. I don't know what I would do in her position. If this was my career, if this was my income, if this is what my kid was going through, if the producers were convincing me by sharing it, I'm going to help other kids. I'm going to help my own kid. I'm just sharing because I understand the controversy and I don't know what the right answer is. So I don't mean to be critical, but I thought that was juicy that she's so mad at this girl, Katie, because Katie had her daughter share that the kids said that Heather Dubrow was a bitch. And then she's like, don't talk about my kids, but let me tell you that my 10-year-old boy has an eating disorder and might be on the autism spectrum. Okay. Also, she obviously has eating issues because her big shtick is bringing sandwiches into the sauna. That was a big moment. That was her Heather Gay moment for her, where people thought it was so hilarious that in the sauna, she whipped out a Subway turkey sub. So now this time, much like Shannon Bedore would kind of become a caricature of herself, where she'd be like, Shannon Bedore doesn't like that. Shannon Bedore, Shannon Storms Bedore. You're like, now Emily has to do food bits in every episode, which is weird because she says her kid has food issues. So she's taking extra donuts when she leaves the cafe, putting in her pocket. She tries to steal what she thinks is a hard-boiled egg from the hot pot restaurant, and it seems to be a whole egg and it was just decorative or something. I don't know. That's where the big comedy comes in. I don't know, you guys. I don't know if you're going to be watching it. Oh, and also Tamra basically body shamed the new girl, Jen, because before she got divorced, she was a lot heavier. Now she's super fit, probably maybe had some body work done. Her belly button looks like she kind of did, but it looks really good. She's very fit, has a very fit boyfriend. And she and Tamara are at odds as well. So Tamara was like, did you see what she used to look like? It's like, did you see what you used to look like? You guys are all getting plastic surgery. And you didn't like it when Slade said that you were, Slade and Gretchen. I just remember Slade did stand up at the Irvine Improv and they showed it. So ironic when you go. I feel like these people forget like what the episodes were. Like, I think if I was going back on the show every season, I would go and just rewatch all the episodes and just remind myself what I've said and done on these shows. But Slade did stand up with Gretchen in which he had like photos up and was ripping on Tamara's figure, which she always had a good figure, but ripping on Tamara's figure, fat shaming her, calling her the Michelin man. I mean, my God, are you kidding me? Tamara, always been fit, got fitter and everything after that. Then she did the workout thing. But then she, in turn, is saying, look at what Jen used to look like. And still, Jen looked good in the photo. She had like skinny jeans on and like a red peplum top. I'm just saying, these people are all hypocrites. I'm sorry I spent so much time on it. Who cares? Okay, also, kind of fell off on watching Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I think I made the right decision. Because this article from Reality Blurb says, Drew Sidora posts a $6,000 receipt to shut down Shamia Morton's fake handbag claim. That was a storyline on Real Housewives of Atlanta. One housewife accused a housewife of getting a fake Judith Lieber crystal martini bag. And then that girl had to show, no, I was enough of an idiot to spend $5,600 on a real bag. No, not watching. Who cares? New show alert. This is 21 single virgins are looking for love in paradise. So these are young single virgins, and Will You Be My First is the name of the show. Oh, Are You My First is the name of the show. Caitlin Bristow, who was a bachelorette and also did a couple, when I was on the Bachelorette in New Mexico, where I facilitated a date, she was the host with the other girl who I can't remember, but I thought she was a good host. Anyway, she's hosting with what is his name? With Colton Underwood, who was a bachelor who got a fiance, and then they broke up because he was stalking her and put air tags on her car and was a total freak. Later, it was because he was actually confused about his sexuality. He's since married a man and they have a child together. So I'm guessing this is going to be a mix of gay, lesbian, bisexual, maybe asexual virgins. I don't know. This is what the show is about, virgins. So in the comments, someone said, my God, these two are likable people and capable. However, where is Ashley I? She was an out virgin. The only one that I remember in the last 20 years, really, that is very pretty. And she went on to marry another guy from the Bachelor franchise. They have two of the cutest kids I've ever seen. Why wasn't she asked to host this? I agree. She would be a good host. You know who'd also be a good host? Me. Hello, let me show you something. There's my book. You'll never blue ball in this town again. It's about how I was a 27-year-old virgin and I dry humped and blue balled a lot of guys throughout Hollywood. And I have a longer list than Sheena Shea of celebrities that I dry humped back in the 90s. However, I just didn't consummate it. Whatever. That's a TV show. Come call me. Anyway, it's because Ashley I has been seen filming for Real Housewives of Rhode Island. I guess she lives near there. She and her cute husband have a coffee shop. They know reality TV. They're a very dynamic couple together on social media. So that is allegedly what she's doing and why she couldn't do this. Also, allegedly, there might be a housewife from New Jersey or two or other housewife that they are infiltrating into this cast to kind of help meld it together. Also, speaking of divorces, David Geffen's estranged husband sues the mogul for breach of contract. Now, this was one of those love affairs that really shocked us to our core. David Geffen is 82. He fell in love with a 32-year-old, very good-looking black model man, and they broke up. I don't know why this 50-year age difference didn't work. Oh, also, there's another show, supposedly, sometimes I see these things and I'm like, is this fake news or what? But I don't think it is. That Nick Viall and his very pretty wife, Natalie Joy, are co-hosting a TV show together about age gaps. They have an 18 to 20-year age gap together. So that'll be another dating show that probably involves cougars and probably gay and lesbians, older lesbians, big with guys too, men. I don't know. Maybe it'll be all straight, but it's age gap dating where people date people 20 years older or younger than themselves. However, in this one, Michael's, the younger spouse, claims that Geffen verbally promised him full financial support for life and an equal sharing of assets, but then reneged on that promise by cutting off the financial support after the divorce filing. Oh, really? Really, you 32-year-old model? You really thought you were just going to be taken care of forever, even though you broke up? Geffen demanded that Michaels vacate their New York residence. This left him at the risk of being homeless. There was an exploitation claim in this lawsuit saying that Geffen exploited Michaels, a younger, vulnerable man with a difficult past, for his personal gratification and to project a image of his wealthiness to friends. Okay, Michaels also claims that Geffen subjected him to demanding sexual acts, plied him with drugs and alcohol. And so there you go. I know this must have been shocking to anyone that attended that beautiful wedding. Okay, Meghan Markle's show, With Love with Meghan Markle. I'm kind of shocked because I do feel like, whether it's a hate watch or what, a lot of people watched it. A lot of people talked about it. Well, according to the New York Post, her show has failed to rank among the platform's top 300 most watched titles between January and June 2025. So I am kind of surprised when I think about 300 that she wasn't in the top 300 of a 6-month span does seem kind of shocking. I know there's a lot of programming, but it's coming back most likely because they did a two season commitment. Also, that second season might already be in the can. I know that they did that with Selling Sunset in the beginning. They do 2 seasons at once, but then save the second season. So the filming and everything is less expensive. You do it all together, but then you act like, oh, here's the second season. Like, oh, you got renewed. So anyway, also I came across a clip of the greatest interview that she's ever done with that girl who's like, oh, you work so hard. You work hard. Yes. Oh, yet. You haven't worked that hard yet. Anyway, someone put this together. What is the name of this person that put this together? 1653.jjj. Okay, whatever. And it was all the times that Meghan Markle has talked about all the jobs that she has had because she worked so hard. These are some of the jobs she had as a child, okay? She sold scrunchies for $1 at school. She also, all the time, went to her mother's father, so her grandfather on her mother's side, or her mother's grandfather, I don't know, had an antique store that she would work out after school. I don't know how she got there. She also, prior to that, when she was talking to her dad, said that she was working with him all the time on the set of his TV shows. She also worked at Humphrey's Yogurt at 13 years old, which is very controversial. I have said I am 10 years older than her, and we had to be 16 to work in California, but people said, no, if you got something, you could work there at 13. I don't know. She also was a nanny for 2 Irish Catholic families in college that said that she, like she was a bartender. She's, all these things. The only job I know that she really did have was work at Mirabelle with Chris Frangiola. So I think having various jobs, I'm not saying she's lying, but we've all done it. And it just seems very disingenuous. Disingenuous? Yes, disingenuous. And so that's where I think people kind of get a little bit like, ugh. And the other thing is when she did this other interview and she's like, I think everybody's been a little charmed by jam. Who hasn't been charmed by jam? And the podcast person is like, exactly. And so when you are charmed by jam, which is what I'm going forward with my products, then you want to go to the next step. What else can I do to bring it together? The comments are like, who has been charmed by jam? Who has been like, you know what really charms me is a bottle of Smuckers. Like, I don't get it, but I have had enjoyment in talking about how weird she is. So I want to thank her for that. Okay. I want to just highlight that Spencer Pratt, who has lost his home and his parents' home in the Palisades, is really exposing what the hell is going on. And he is sharing it all over his TikTok and Instagram. It is not getting the views that he would normally get when he would be dancing around with a burrito. However, I went to the Fire Aid concert. The tickets were extremely expensive. We felt good about paying that extremely expensive price because we found out later they raised $100 million that would go to the victims of Altadena and the Palisades. Can someone let me know if you received any money from it? Because according to Spencer Pratt and everybody else, nobody else has. In fact, the money went to nonprofits that one nonprofit allegedly is something that Gavin Newsom and his wife have something to do with. So I would like to know more about that. I would like to know, maybe it took some time. Maybe this is all of a sudden people start getting checks. I mean, if it's $100 million, why wouldn't you just say, if you were a victim of this, everybody, if you want it, you get, $3,000, $5,000, whatever, something. Why are these victims not getting this? There were 7,000 homes that were lost. Okay. So there you go. Let me know what's going on. But our C-list celebrity, that's what Gavin calls Spencer, is doing the real work here. Okay. Wendy Williams came out of a restaurant with her attorney. She seems with it. She is trying to get out of this guardianship, and her attorney is saying it's a big problem. She's not the only person that finds themselves in these weird guardianships where all of a sudden she doesn't have autonomy over herself, that she can leave, that she can do things, that she can have her own money. It's really crazy, and he's getting to the bottom of it, but she seemed great wearing her, her iconic W necklace. And she says, the reason I look so good is that all I do is work out in this facility that I have to live in. So good for her. Also, today we got to stream as much or as little as you could take, but it was really so compelling. We got to hear from the victim's family of the 4 innocent, beautiful college students, the Idaho victims of the disgusting serial killer murderer. And he sat there having to stare at every single one of them. And two of the greatest moments that I was able to see, I couldn't watch the whole thing, came from Kaylee's family. Now, to remind you guys, Kaylee was best friends with Maddie since childhood. They were the 2 girls that were sharing a bed that night. They were roommates. And their family was not for the plea deal. They were disappointed in that. But I think they really made up for it in their speeches. One of them, one of the moments that I caught was, I believe it was maybe the mother who said, oh, and this goes from Callie's youngest sister, who said to him, you may have gotten A's in school, but you're going to get big D's in prison, something to that extent. And there was chuckles in the room, and they left. And the comments are like, yeah, go be savage. Like, what have you got to lose? Let this guy know what a loser is. And then another person from her family, I believe was also her sister, said, you are not smart. You are not anything. I'm paraphrasing. You're like a piece of shit. You're nothing. You're a loser. And just because someone had finally said your name out loud does not make you anything. And if you didn't choose to come in the middle of the night where people were sleeping and sneak in their room like a disgusting pedophile, Callie would have kicked your fucking ass. And just, we are loving how savage they are. We are loving that they have this moment. Of course, other of the victims' families, I believe Maddie's mom gave her letter to her personal attorney to read. Her stepdad did speak as well, but I can imagine how hard it is for some people to speak. But he had to sit there, and he just stared right at them as they said everything. We know this person is of no remorse. He is insane. It's like just so horrible. But I think we all got some satisfaction out of Callie's family saying what they said today. So love and prayers for them. You know what doesn't belong in your epic, fun summer plans? Getting burned out by your old wireless bill. While you're planning beach trips, barbecues, and 3-day weekends, your wireless bill should be the last thing holding you back. That's why I want to tell you about Mint Mobile. Say goodbye to overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. So ditch overpriced wireless and get 3 months of unlimited service from Mint Mobile for $15 a month. If I had needed this product, this is what I would use. And this year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get this new customer offer and your 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/juicyscoop. That's mintmobile.com/juicyscoop. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Now, you guys, I have a real treat. I am talking to one of the stars of the McBee Dynasty. I know a lot of you have been watching it, but even if you're not, you're going to find this very juicy. This is about a woman who gets involved with the father of 3 sons running this dynasty of meat. And it's a very realistic reality show. And she's initially the other woman. She actually starts being the CFO of this big company, only to find out that her friend, who's also Russian, she's Russian, that she invites into her world of friendship and fun, actually starts having an affair with the dad, who's her boyfriend. It's very juicy. I'm going to have her explain it. And I have so many questions for her and about her life, going from Russia to being the CFO in the middle of America to now being on this reality show. So let's get into it. Well, hello, Galyna. Thank you for joining me on Juicy Scoop. I'm excited. I have lots of questions for you.
Hi, I bet you do. Sometimes I have lots of questions for myself.
Exactly. So I gave a little intro before you came on about McBee Dynasty in case people are not watching it, though they should. And I just have some questions. You know, you are Russian and very attractive. So I just wanted to get a little background. When did you come to America and where did you come first? How did you end up being the CFO of a meat company run by a father and his, young adult sons? How did this come about? It's like a very mixed matched situation.
It's actually a crazy situation. Like a lot of, it's been a long journey. So initially I moved to US in 2000. I moved to Fort Lauderdale. I lived in Orlando for quite some time. I moved to Kansas City in 2011. It was just, normal job transfer. I do love living in Florida, and we had this opportunity to move here. When we moved initially here, I was still kind of like stay-at-home mom with part-time jobs. I separated from my daughter's father at that time, so I was kind of left on my own to build up the career. I started with basic jobs. My first job was like literally at the stadium at $12 an hour, just doing some catering. It was wild, but I was extremely driven. So I started building up my career. Was fortunate to be hired by a few large corporations and gained my knowledge and experience with them. And then to meet Steve literally by accident, probably was at the right time, at the right place, or that's what I'm thinking now or how I perceive it. We kind of started talking and he learned all about my skill set. It was matching their vision. They offered me a full-time job and so here I am today.
All right, let me go back a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
So you grew up in Russia, and initially, what made you move to Fort Lauderdale? Was it you were already in love with your daughter's father, or was it for career or modeling or what? Because you're so attractive.
Well, thank you. No, actually, yes, I grew up in Central Asia. I moved to St. Pete. Back in the day, I started talking to my daughter's father through internet. So it was the very initial internet interaction. So I met him online. We started talking. He came to Russia, to St. Pete, invited me back. I came here on the fiancé visa initially, and he proposed. So that was back when I lived in Fort Lauderdale. So we lived in Fort Lauderdale and Orlando for quite some time. But yeah, that's how I got to US. I met her father online. We talked, got my fiancé visa, and here I am.
And was that something that you always, as a little girl, desired to do, was to come to America at some point?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, really?
No. Yes, no. I grew up in the Soviet Union. So Soviet Union was I was looking forward to the all Soviet Union activities until it completely collapsed. Then it became, then we found out about the US and how amazing this country is and land of opportunity and, so forth, so on. It just was such a wild series of events. But yeah, no, growing up, never thought I would be in US, never thought any of that will happen to me. Yeah.
Oh, very interesting.
Glad to be here. Yeah.
So once you separate, how old is your daughter now?
She's 23.
Okay. So you and your husband at the time, he gets another job. That's what brings you to Kansas City. And then you start living the life as a divorced mom. And you meet Steve Sr. like out at a restaurant. Like where did you meet him and what year did you meet him?
So I met him actually at the car wash, ironically enough.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just cleaning my car after work, so he came to me and just, I guess, like the quality of my taking care of the vehicle. I was really very thorough. So I don't know. He just kind of said hi, gave me his phone number. So
Very good looking. It's
yes.
crazy how he and Steve Jr. look so much alike with the high
Yes, they do.
cheekbones. It's like if this guy showed up in LA, I would be like, why do you have so much filler in your cheekbones? But I know those
Right.
are his
Facts.
cheekbones.
Facts. I can tell you they have no fillers in their cheekbones. Yeah, definitely. And a great feature.
So do you start working for him first or do you start a romance first?
No, we started talking
Okay.
first. Obviously he gave me the phone number. Like we met by accident. He gave me the phone number. We kind of started interacting here and there. Like, he took me out to dinner, things like that, as he was continuing to learn about me. Yeah.
And so at that time, and no judgment, I'm just trying to get timeline. At that time, was he officially separated from the four boys' mom, Christy?
So thank you for asking this question. The way it was presented to me, yes. As a matter of fact, he was not living in the same house with the boy's mom. So, and I just literally, I've lived in Kansas City only a few years, so I don't know any of the dynamics. When I initially moved to Kansas City and got separated from my daughter's father, I was so focused on my work and building up the career and income for both of us. I did not know any dynamics. I did not know anybody here. I don't have family here, so to me, it was just, I met somebody who introduced myself, who is charming, charismatic, smart, So, yeah, I mean, of course, wow, like I basically won a lottery here.
Right.
Right.
So, okay, so then you guys start dating and seeing each other. And do you meet the boys like before? How do you end up working there and then becoming like the CFO? And they say on the show, when you in the second season, you kind of disappear. We'll get into that in a minute. And they are like, she is the backbone of the company. Like, we can't go on without her. Like, how did that come about?
So, as we were kind of starting, see each other, you obviously, as a natural progression of any relationship, you start learning things about each other and start respecting a certain trait. So, Steve obviously learned about my work ethic and my drive and, ability to learn. And he offered me a consulting job initially, to be honest with you. So I was only introduced to Steven to begin with on a consulting base. Again, at that point, I did not ask any questions. I don't judge. I already been through my own set of relationship. I've completely trusted Steve and everything that he was telling me. So I was just introduced to Steven and we just started interacting on the business level, to benefit the companies. So that's how it kind of all began.
And then how many years into working with them and being in a relationship with Steve Jr., did you guys get presented with, hey, would you all like to slap on mics and have cameras follow you? And we're going to do a reality show, which is really very different type of show that Bravo has ever really done before. This is middle America. This is farming. This is a more male dominated reality show. So yes. How did that come about?
So the entire show came. Steven, he's with his high cheekbone and good looks, he got attention before any one of us through another show that it was called Joe the Millionaire for Richer or Poor.
They wanted him for that. They wanted him for that.
Right. So this was the whole very initial thing that he got casted for that show, and they found him through his social media, probably because of his high cheekbones.
Yeah.
He's extremely smart. So he went through the full casting process, and they chose him to be on the show. When they came to film the show on the farm, this is how kind of all of our dynamics and very unusual dynamics came to, were exposed. So we had an opportunity to film a pilot episode with Jeff Jenkins Production, and they did an amazing job with it. So now here we are. It's a season 1 on Bravo, but it's season 2 for us.
So basically then they go, forget it, we're not going to waste him on this Joe Millionaire show because we could have his own show. Is that basically what happened?
Yes.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah, because when they came in, I'm like, okay, there is more to this story. It's totally probably worth following.
Yes. And well, now I'm thinking about it. If you were his girlfriend, how did you feel about him going on essentially? If the Joe Millionaire thing would have gone, wouldn't that have been him dating a bunch of women?
So that was Steven. Steven is the son.
Oh, Steven was going to do it. Steven Jr. Yes. Oh, I see. So Steven Jr. they got.
Way too old at that point to be on a dating show. He would have been on the golden one.
Okay, so there's Steve Sr. who you dated, and then Steve Jr.
Correct.
Got it.
So okay. Steven is his son. Yeah.
Okay, I got it. So then, when that happened, was there any reservations that you had about that, exposing your life, sharing so much about yourselves, or you were all excited?
I was all excited, not at the moment. I was like, oh my gosh, let's do it. This is such a rare opportunity. I was all for it. Absolutely.
Okay, so now let's get to the juice. So we see you in the last season and you work together. You're very loving towards him. You're like, I want to do everything for you. You see you guys cuddling and all that. And you bring this girl that I don't know how you know her, but she's Russian as well, Masha, into the fold. How did that come about? And that she would also come into the fold and also be on camera as your friend.
So as the, season 1 kind of unfolded and obviously, was very much into Steve, and my goals were always treat another person the way you want to be treated. So I went overboard with a few things here and there, obviously. Then I found out about my car and a few other things, obviously, that was happening through the season, and it was and extremely traumatic for me at that moment.
So wait, let me just fill people in. So you found out that they were seeing each other romantically behind your back.
Oh, with her, yes. I won't feel. Yeah, no, I'm just still talking about the season 1, how she came into to the picture. I've known her since I moved to Kansas City. So I moved to Kansas City in 2011. So I've known her for a very long time. We were kind of on and off friends, and then kind of reconnected again through my experiences because, we have the same background. I felt like she can relate to me a lot better. So we've reconnected again. And then all of a sudden, she was really there all the time for me, I'm like, oh, that's so great. I finally have a friend that I can, talk to, that shares the same cultural background, which, makes a massive difference too. So that's how she came to life. I brought her to the farm. I introduced her to everybody. We were hanging out. I was taking her on the trips, making sure that everybody has all the Christmas gifts that they possibly, and everything. Because I needed a friend to get me through those tough times and just, understand everything that happened in season 1. And, I guess, I was wrong too with that one, because as everything was happening, and then all of a sudden I find myself moved out completely from the house. And then I'm finding out through basically, some random stranger that she's on a date with Steve. Yeah, it was extremely difficult. Yeah, I found out very hard way that she was sleeping with him, dating him, facilitating the whole breakup month before, I was moved out.
That must have been so hard, because if you didn't really know that it was going on, it's like the classic tale of like, you're wondering, why is my boyfriend acting different? What is going on? Like, there must have been, gaslighting, confusion. I'm guessing, where you're like, what happened to my perfect relationship?
Well, we never really apparently had a perfect relationship. I was working to create, a relationship, and I was, my idea was always to be a great partner and have a great relationship, open communication relationship. I never wanted to be in a relationship that inconveniencing anybody. So it was always very confusing to me. Like, hey, if you want to see all these women, you want to, sleep with my friend while I'm still living here. We're not married. We don't have kids. Just break up with me and move on. Why drag me along through all of that? You don't have to go through divorce. Just say, hey, bye. So it was extremely confusing time of my life. I did not understand any of the logistics of any of that. I'm a very logical person. So yeah, it was a struggle.
So you guys break up, but you're in this weird position. Not only are you on the reality show, but your role in the reality show is that you have this huge part of the company. You have a 10% ownership in the company. And, we see this scene where Steve Jr. is like, yeah, Masha's car required $7,000 worth of fixing it.
Yeah.
Do you know who took a whatever golf club to her car or whatever it was? I don't know why it was like that, but what is the deal with the car?
Yeah, that's my question exactly, because I'm still questioning all of that. So I asked okay, if I did any damage, can I see the pictures? Is it total? Where are all this stuff? I know for a fact, the moment she entered the relationship or, the friendship or whatever, she was constantly hinting that she needs a new car. Her car was getting older. She is a well-known gold digger, and that's how she gets her things, by hinting. So, I've never to this day got any evidence, proof, any pictures. Where was that damage?
They're saying they think that you got angry and damaged her car, and you're saying, no, I did not.
No, I think she did, because she needed a new car. She ended up finally totaling it because she needed a new car so bad that she wanted it. But no, I've never received any pictures or anything like that. I think she is fabricating the story. Well, whatever she wants to think, okay. Congratulations, you got a new car.
I just think it's insanity, because it's here you take on this girl that's your friend, and she gets to, get featured on the reality show. She gets to have fun with you. And then she, takes your man and your life. I think I'd be way more crazy than what you've shown on the show.
Thank you. I'm not going to lie. I do have a little bit of a temper, and that is sometimes very hard to control, especially in those type of situations. So I appreciate you understanding and kind of seeing things from my perspective and from, through my eyes. It was incredibly difficult. It's coming from, not only Steve, who is my partner and we live together, and, her, who is my friend and there every day. And then, both of them are kind of doing that behind my back while leading me on. It was just wild. I mean, it was absolutely surreal. There was no way that I could make any good, healthy decisions at the moment of my life. I sometimes did not know even how I made any decisions because it was just so traumatizing and so discouraging and depressing. Like it was wild.
And here, you're still on the show. So like they're coming and miking you up but then you kind of disappear for a couple weeks. I think it's interesting that Steve Sr. just like isn't really part of the show for several episodes. He just leaves. How do you do all that when you can't really hide anything from your life?
No.
So what was that like, filming that during that time?
It took an enormous effort. I'm not going to lie. I had some really bad weekends when I would just wanted to hide under my blanket and like not see anything. Like it took an enormous effort and self-discipline. Like I said, looking back, I understand that some of my decisions were not great, or some of my behaviors were not great. But at the end of the day, one way or another, I continue to stay focused on the business. I have a daughter. Steve has boys. Like boys have nothing to do with this entire situation. Our company has nothing to do with this entire situation. And I had a commitment to my daughter, to my boys, to the company, to the company to perform and continue the business. And that's what kept me going one way or another. Some days were good, some days were not, but I was kept going.
And you say your boys, it seems like you have a good relationship with the boys, the McBee boys. And so that seems to have held up. Yeah.
Yes. No, absolutely. Absolutely. I myself I look through their eyes as well. So like I said, I cannot blame them for anything that was happening. It's not their fault, what kind of decisions, me and Steve made through our relationship or whatever happened through the relationship. So they rely on our performance as we are their adults. He is their father. So I have a full commitment to them. I'm not going to just like, okay, I have this hard time with Steve and I'm going to just drop everybody in my life. Absolutely not. That's not who I am.
Now with the boys, we see they have like significant others, and
yes,
Cole's expecting a baby. The other guy is engaged. Stephen Jr. is on and off with a really pretty girl that you seem to get along with. But the girls don't get along. Where does that stand? Or do you have one that you connected with more than the others?
Honestly, I don't get really too much involved in the whole girl drama. And I feel that the fact that we had such a wild relationship with Steve, I was not always involved in some of the interactions. But Casey and Ali are definitely my favorite. Both of them are amazing. Kali is an interesting character. She's something else. Casey and Ali, I love them both equally. They've been great for the family, super committed, extremely nice, and I have good relationship with them.
Now, maybe I missed this part, but does your daughter make appearances in it all?
Yes, she makes a few appearances on the show. She's actually been living in North Carolina and studying in North Carolina for the last 5 years. So she was not here all the time, but whenever she was visiting, yes, she was a part of the show.
So what is it like to go to the grocery store when your show is on TV and is a hit? Like, how do you feel about strangers coming up to you that are fans or maybe don't like you? Or what's been your, the best part about being on a reality show and the worst?
Honestly, I am very humbled and really excited that I've received a lot of good feedback. Obviously, not everybody likes me. Not everybody is a fan of my decisions or who I am. And I respect that. I cannot please everybody, not expect everybody please everyone as well. So it's really neat when somebody comes up to me and recognizes me and just expresses their support for everything that, is happening. And it's been amazing experience, honestly.
And on the recent episode, Masha tells the boys that she's on a vacation with Steve Sr. in Mexico, and she believes that you went and kidnapped some chickens. Do you want to speak on the chicken situation, whether they were big chickens or baby chickens?
I did not kidnap any of the chickens. I mean, guys, it's a freaking farm. Like, everybody has chicken. Like, and then again, from like, where in the universe she's like a freaking chicken lady all of a sudden. I thought she was like this, a city girl that did not like any country or anything like that. And all of a sudden she's with all these chickens and all that stuff. Like, it's like, no, I did not kidnap any of her chickens. It's a farm. Things like, yeah.
Well, I'm excited to keep watching the show. I think there's, I do know how many episodes are left. There's 4 out now.
Yes, there's total 10 episodes.
Okay.
So there's more to come. It's intense.
So I need,
it's intense.
It is fun. It is a cool, interesting thing to watch, and really real, very, very real dynamics. Nothing feels fake or put upon, which sometimes happens when, on certain shows that have been around for a long time, they can't help but, start to self-produce or whatever. And this does seem very authentic and very entertaining and everything. And if they want to follow you on Instagram, how can they follow you?
It's just my last name, Saltkovska. I know it's a little difficult, but just type in salt, like salt and pepper and K, and then I should be able to populate Saltkovska. And I would appreciate you guys' follows and support.
Well, thank you so much. This was great. Thanks a lot. It was great talking to you.
Thank you.
Remember to go to heathermcdonald.net. Join my Patreon. That's where I really get into the juicy stuff. I give you the behind the scenes feelings of some of my more juicy, controversial interviews that you get to enjoy on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Also, that's where you're going to buy your tickets to my show, my live Juicy Scoop, November 14th at the MGM Grand. That is the Friday of BravoCon. We are not going to be holding anything back. Lots of content over at heathermcdonald.net.